This is Eswatini TV News at 10. I am Notulesi Tola alongside Zamanzi Manze. First up, here's a look at our headlining stories tonight. Right Honourable Prime Minister Russell Dlamini says government has hired a consultant that is looking into police salaries. His Excellency the Honourable Prime Minister has officially opened the 2024 Eswatini Green Indaba, noting with concern that the country has seen a low yield due to the consequences of climate change. Minister of Natural Resources and Energy, Senator Prince Lonkokela, says Eswatini needs to have a sufficient and reliable power base in order to create employment opportunities for the youth. And now the news in detail. The Prime Minister's office has appeared before its Senate Portfolio Committee, where it reported on its performance for the first quarter of the 2024-2025 financial year. His Excellency, the Right Honourable Prime Minister Russell Dlamini says government has already hired a consultant that is looking into police salaries. He says the consultant has already started working.
His Excellency, the Right Honourable Prime Minister Russell Dlamini has informed the committee that police faced a number of challenges in the first quarter of the financial year 2024-2025. Some of these challenges include the rise in stock theft cases as well as GBV cases. He also highlighted the work done by Nature, which includes reaching out to communities and preaching the gospel of fighting HIV and AIDS. Members of the committee had time to ask questions.
Serious crimes. Ngicela kuva nje kuwesihlalo uthi ngabe kuyatholakala yini ukuthi yini lo uthi kwende ukuthi kwenyuke leli zinga.
Ingabe great motor thing 740 lethe maphoyisa tingakhi ngoma ngihlala kaManzini mina Manzini lidolobha liphistela ebusuku ukhanze ukuthi kude vele imoto mbamba labantu abebantu baze batsebenzise imoto dabo.
Ingabe ikhona yini umcondo wokumhlonishwa ndunankulu ukuthi abe ne strategy in place sekuthi le monarchical democracy sikhulume etindzaweni letiningi ngoba sifundisa abantu ngoba bamandla kusifundisa lokwabo lokuningi lokungasebenzi kahle.
The Premier responded to some of those questions.
The consultant has already been appointed, and the consultant has already consulted the police service already, head office and regionally as well. But ifakile mvuba yabo ukuthi kulungiswe lokho. Ikakhulu naleli nyeva lelwahlupha kwamaphoyisa nalo libukiwe ukuthi nase kulungiswe konke lokho. Ungaphinzi kube nomsindo emaphoyiseni kubeke kwaba neminyaka leminyeni kunga recruit emaphoyisa nawo siyadzinga ukuthi kulomnyaka lotako si recruit etinombolo letanele ukuze ukuthi sathi ukuthi in terms of security live liselanele ukuthi sesingaqala ke sisebenze yonke leminye imisebenzi njengoba bahlonishwa babuta ukuthi kwenziwa yini ukuthi yini lenyuswa le crime kunembuto lo shito kanjalo ukuthi yini lenyuswa le crime rate even uphuya. There's poverty, there's unemployment. Lokho ke kuya contribute ukunyusa i-crime rate. Bese ke lokunyusa stock theft is porous borders. Sikhulumile nele-office like Foreign Affairs. Nyalo, there's a consultancy that is helping us to put down what is good ngale monarchical democracy yethu, so that we have one document that anybody who is traveling around the world, that our ambassadors as well will use and boldly say this is what our monarchical democracy is.
The Premier informed the committee that other responses will be brought to it in writing. For Eswatini TV News, Temgosima Vimbela with Temba Shabangu, Parliament.
His Excellency, the Honourable Prime Minister Russell Dlamini says Eswatini has been experiencing the consequences of climate change, such as erratic rainfall and extreme weather patterns, which have jeopardized the food sector. The Prime Minister says he notes that the country has received a low yield this year. The Prime Minister's remarks were delivered by the Honourable Minister of Environmental Affairs, Jane Ismelani, during the official opening of the Eswatini Green Indaba for 2024.
The Green Indaba 2024 now is in second edition, is focused on finding sustainable solutions for food systems and actively involving youth and women in addressing climate change. During the official opening of the Indaba, the Prime Minister, represented by the Minister of Environmental Affairs, Honourable Jane Similane, highlighted that food sector has been significantly impacted by the effects of climate change.
The consequences of climate change are all too evident. We have witnessed prolonged droughts, erratic rainfall, and increasingly frequent extreme weather events. These phenomena do not only jeopardize our food security, but also pose significant risk to the health and well-being of our people. Our agricultural sector, which is vital to our economy and livelihoods, has been hit hard with notable declines in crop yields and increasing food insecurity. The past season was characterized by El Nino, whose effects, exacerbated by climate change, resulted in drought in a greater part of Southern Africa.
The United Nations Resident Coordinator to Eswatini, George Wachira, emphasized the substantial resources required to combat climate change effectively.
Transitioning green economies requires the mobilization of huge amounts of resources. The unfortunate reality we face is that the world has not mobilized anywhere near the promised resources that are required in terms of the Paris Agreement that was signed years ago. Even though we've been meeting almost year after year, last year we were at COP28, we are headed for COP29 later this year. The promises have been coming, but these promises are not being kept.
The Indaba coincides with the Kingdom of Eswatini's participation in the Summit of the Future in New York, where discussions will address reforms and the fulfillment of previously made resources commitments. Eswatini TV News, Sondomlangini, Ezulwini.
The Kingdom of Eswatini urgently needs to have a sufficient and reliable base power in order to be able to create more employment opportunities for the youth and further realize exponential economic growth. This was said by the Minister for Natural Resources and Energy, His Royal Highness Senator Prince Lonkokela, when delivering his preamble before the ministry's first quarter performance report for the year 2024-2025 to the Senate Portfolio Committee.
The country urgently needs baseload power to support economic development, jobs, and stabilize electricity tariffs and secure power independence in the country. This baseload, Mr. Chairman, can be provided by our available coal resources or exchange thereof. However, there is need for an incremental budget of about 2 billion per year over a period of 5 years, totaling about 10 billion emalanga. The drilling of boreholes has resumed. Boreholes have already been drilled at Ejenhof to benefit 2 schools and 2 communities at Metula Ingumla.
The chairperson of the Senate Portfolio Committee responsible for the Ministry of Natural Resources and Energy, Sipepelo Mkonda, then opened the floor for the committee members to make interventions on the report.
How many megawatts do we have?
Low and live nama concession ma-concessions. Ayatakala yini asekhona yini vele ngobe awuseva lokuthi labantu abahleli khona le period yabo iphela nini.
Sivile ukuthi kunebantu lokhanza ukuthi bayakhwangwasa ngema-minerals elive. Siya-check-a-ke check-we ukuthi litiko kukhona yini lokuphathekako kwendako ku-addressa indzaba ye-illegal mining nekuthi what is the lasting solution to that issue.
Umsendo omhle kakhulu lo lento yayifuna ngema-eviction, khona eviction nje la kuyendeka yasukuma indvuna mathupha yawuthatha lo msebenzi yawuthwala emahlombe yawusebenta ngebuhle emaswata ananadela kakhulu kabekwa kwenta lapha.
Singakukhutsata kuyo indvuna sikhutsate na MD waka water ngiloko kutsi achubeka asendele lama smart initiatives lawa latawukhona ku-introducer prepaid meters in the near future.
At the time of compiling this news report, the Honorable Minister, His Royal Highness Senator Prince Nonkokela, was yet to respond to the Portfolio Committee members. Reporting, Mbongwa Dube, Parliament.
The Honourable Minister for Health, Mduduzi Mathebula, has officially launched the operation of 3 emergency theatres for the new wing of the Mbamane Government Hospital. We have a report.
The Honorable Minister for Health, Mduduzi Mathebula, says the launching of the emergency operation theatres is part of government's efforts to provide world-class health services to the public, and it will help in reducing expenses incurred by government when transferring patients for treatment outside the country's borders.
You are all aware of the high cost incurred by our government when paying for patients to be transferred to neighboring countries for specialized services through the Palala Fund. The inconvenience experienced by these patients due to being taken away from their relatives at a critical time in their lives cannot be underestimated. The ministry has therefore continued to put into action the recommendations from previous assessment of Palala Fund and some of the achievements. There has been significant improvement in availability of specialized skills in the country. Currently, we have 20 specialization areas available locally, 18 of which are available in the public sector, which is our government, mission and NGOs facilities, except for cardiologists and radiologists, of which the ambassador has promised to support on that.
The ambassador of the Republic of China Taiwan to the Kingdom of Eswatini, Jeremy Liang, says the assistance extended to this kingdom by his country will ensure the full realization of access to health as a human right for the public.
This achievement not only signifies a new era in healthcare for Eswatini, but also brings world-class medical standards to its people, furthering His Majesty's vision of transforming Eswatini into a first world country. As we celebrate this significant milestone, let us remember that health is a universal human right. Taiwan is an active, responsible member of the international community, eager to share our experiences and expertise in healthcare development.
The Honorable Minister for Health further explained that the facility will be open for use to specialist doctors from the public and private sectors alike. Reporting, Mbongwa Dube, Mbabane.
The Office of the Attorney General has unveiled a 5-year strategic plan along with a new logo during the launch event held in Eswatini. Attorney General Sifiso Khumalo said the strategy aims to promote the core values of integrity, timeliness, professionalism, teamwork and accountability. Khumalo stated that the strategy will enhance the provision of legal services to both government and the public.
The Attorney General, Sifiso Khumalo, highlighted that the strategy is designed to uphold specific values of the office.
This strategy is designed to respond to the challenges faced by the office in the delivery of its mandate and focus on the measures that can best be delivered through collective action that complement national efforts and strategies that are already in place. To that extent, our strategic plan flows from the National Development Plan, which has the efficient public service delivery that respects human rights, justice, and rule of law as one of its priority areas. Running through the strategic plan, you will see our values. The values of integrity, timeliness, professionalism, teamwork, accountability, courtesy, and respect, woven as they are into our strategy, are crucial waypoints for the Office of the Attorney General as we navigate years ahead of us.
The new strategic direction and new logo shows commitment to enhancing the effectiveness and efficiency of legal support in Eswatini. For Eswatini TV News, Ndomlangeni with Fortune Dlangamandla, some pictures sourced from the Attorney General's office.
The Federation of Eswatini Business Community, FESBIC, says all farmers and small and medium enterprises under the Federation will be trained on greening their businesses to ensure that they are sustainable. The Chief Executive Officer says this will help businesses to conform to the international market standards.
We've come to create that awareness to them that even the financiers, the people who provide finance, the banks, are also taking that route. You may find that it's going to be difficult to get a loan if in your plan you don't prove that you will be assisting in greening the environment. The markets, as we speak right now, overseas markets are very strict in knowing how you produced that. Did you incorporate environmental controls, that sort of thing. So for your product to sell, you must whatever you do, you must green the environment. The direction that the world is taking now is that those with money, those with finance, are keen now to direct their funds towards greening the environment. So they are willing and able to support all those initiatives that talks about greening the environment. So you will, in future, you will find that some of the financial institutions will have to be accredited. And once you are accredited, then you will receive funds from overseas. Now, where they borrow funds, it will be easy.
On another note, the Center for Financial Inclusion, CFI, is conducting a study to determine how small and medium enterprises can be assisted by financial institutions that would be offering green loans in the future. Manager of Financial Inclusion Strategy, Prudence Mnisi, says through this study, they wish to be equipped with information on how SMEs can be assisted as they seek green loans.
We're asking ourselves if, once the products are available, would the SMEs be ready to access those financial services and products? So that is what we are expecting the study to generate that information that will then be used for us as a country to ensure that we together as the various partners work towards assisting and handholding SMEs to transition to the greener economy. We are presenting the diagnostic study and the roadmap that will then detail the recommendations for the transition and highlighting different responsibilities for different organizations and institutions to ensure that we assist the SMEs, because for us they are that private sector that we believe will contribute to employment.
The Ministry of Commerce, Industry and Trade says it is ready to come up with policies that will support the greening of businesses.
In terms of maybe meeting the standards required in all the markets, whether regionally or internationally. And again, when we come to our local SMEs in terms of the smallholder farmers especially, which are the most and greatly affected due to the climate change, because in recent years, they will normally rely on rain. But now with the climate change that has already had a negative impact, then we are looking at other ways of how we can curb, and that includes the issues of access to finance.
Through the nationally determined contributions over a year ago, Eswatini adopted its first economy-wide emissions reduction target by 5% by 2030 and 14% with financial support. Initiatives meant to green the small and medium enterprises are working towards ensuring that the country achieves this target. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Vuminkosi Nzinisa, Mbabane.
And now let's have a look at our financial indicators.
Standard Bank. It can be.
And moving on to sports, Vice President of the Eswatini Football Association, Steve Horton, has challenged Mbabane Swallows to finish what they have started and win their second leg of the CAF Champions League preliminary round against Club Ferroviario de Beira from Mozambique. Horton was speaking when bidding farewell to the team at Sigwaqa House in Mbabane.
Mbabane Swallows will be leaving the country this coming Friday, heading to the Republic of Mozambique for their second leg of the CAF Champions League preliminary stage against Club Ferroviario de Beira from Mozambique, having won the first leg in Republic of South Africa at the Lucas Moripe Stadium by a goal to nil. Bidding forward to the team was the Vice President of the National Football Association, Steve Horton, who encouraged the team to represent the country well.
The Football Association, because then represent Maswati, and represent Mbabane Swallows.
Team head coach Caleb Ngwenya and his captain Gwakem Tefa did highlight that they are going to be representing the country in this game, and they will ensure that they get a qualification to the next stage.
Ngingasho nje ukuthi lawa majaha bese ngilo team letiningi kakhulu nato angidawuthi futhi angikho ngide kwesaba ukuthi empilo siyolongela isonto ngesitale singayinoma.
The game will be played this coming Sunday in Mozambique. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
Young Buffaloes ladies team have crashed out of the ongoing Women's CAF Champions COSAFA qualifiers taking place in Malawi after losing 6-0 to University of Western Cape in the semi-finals of the qualifiers. Buffaloes won a game, drew one and lost another, making history by qualifying for the semi-finals for the very first time. Head coach Fiswe Hlope believes it was more of a learning process for her team by qualifying for the last four. And that's all I had for you tonight. I'll leave you now with the weather update for myself and the team. Many thanks for your company. Take care.